King Charles, where are you? Your people are shouting, crying, begging for help, and yet you stand silent while this country is torn apart. What good is a crown if it doesn't defend the nation? What good is a king if he will not stand with his people? This land is not theirs to destroy. It belongs to the people, the workers, the mothers, the fathers, the veterans, the builders, the farmers. We carried this island through wars, through hardship, through centuries of struggle, and we will not watch it be handed away by weak men in suits. Your duty is not to them, Charles. It is to us, to Britain, to the very soul of this nation. If you will not rise, if you will not speak, then you will show the people that the crown has become nothing but decoration. So hear us now. Your people demand action. We demand a king who protects his country. Britain is calling, Charles. Answer, or history will remember your silence.
Hello everyone and welcome back to Unite the Kingdom to Restore Britain. Now, before I carry on with today's introduction, I want to say Naruz Morbarak to every wonderfully brave Iranian all around the world, starting with my lovely wife, and especially for the people in Iran that have been standing up to a tyranny, to an ideology, that a cancer that for 47 years oppressed, suppressed good, wonderful men, women and children, to the point where recently they were willing to run into bullets to say enough is enough. They were willing to die for what is absolutely relevant in regards to what's going on in our country at the moment. So if you're new here, my name is Jay. Many people know me as Jay the Soul Coach. I'm just a working class East Londoner who believes deeply in this country, its history and the values that shaped it. Now, over the last few episodes, we've been on a journey. We started by asking what makes Britain Britain? And then we looked at how Britain built its freedoms through history, through struggle, through balance. We spoke about culture, about diversity, about living together. And in the last episode, we talked about something fundamental, the law of the land, common law. The idea that everyone is equal before the law, that no one stands above it. And today I want to bring all of that into the present moment, because history, culture, and law all lead us to one place. Modern Britain, the Britain we live in today, a country that is more diverse than ever, more connected than ever, but also in more ways disconnected. And the real question is, how do we understand each other in a modern diverse society, while still holding on to the values that built the country in the first place? So I need to share my screen at this stage to highlight what is actually going on in Britain at the moment, modern Britain. So if I play this video first. Trafalgar Square.
And I've had a chance to meet some of the people here on this, the world's most famous square in the world's greatest city. I've met Christian friends here, Jewish friends here, Hindu friends here, friends who are members of an organised faith, atheists here, coming here tonight with us Muslims to open the fast, to have an iftar. That is one of the reasons why we are the greatest city in the world. Allah.
So the mayor of London, an admitted openly admitted Islamist, shuts down Trafalgar Square, a place that has so much memorial value and history for our wonderful nation, as an act of dominance, to pray, worshipping a God that, for the record, as we'll come to show, and I have shown on every single episode thus far, that does not want us to be here, literally, as in annihilation. Take us out one by one, the kafar, the non-believers. They closed down Trafalgar Square for these people to pray to a God that judges me, that judges you, that would allow your daughters to be married off 6 years old, 7 years old, 8 years old, 9 years old, 10 years old. Don't believe me? Their prophet, Muhammad, did it. His wife, one of his wives, his most famous wife, Aisha, he married at 6 years old, consummated the marriage at 9 years old. This is all factual. This isn't an ideology from us, a theory, something that we're trying to be provocative with. No, this is what we're trying to show that we're up against. Yet UKIP, an official political party, wasn't able to march through the streets, them same streets of London, a constitutionally Christian country and city, country England, city London, and wasn't allowed to march through because apparently it would offend Muslims. Politically now, we are in the darkest times of my life. I'm 45 years old. I am soon. There has not been a darker time in our nation in my lifetime. We are being strategically wiped out. Have no doubt that the point of Islam is to take over. The last episode I spoke about the jizya, the tax for the non-believers. They call it the humiliation tax. That if they take over our country, we would have to pay to just live here and not be Muslim. I showed you in the last episode videos of Muslimas, women, Muslim scholars that are sound as London as I do, saying, well, if they refuse to pay the jizya, they either convert to Islam or they get killed. This is Sharia law. This is what they're teaching. Go back and watch my last episodes. I've put them. Everyone has got video evidence. This isn't someone just spouting. I haven't got a hateful bone in my body. I love every coloured person out there. Pink, black, white, yellow, brown. I don't care. But we're under attack. We are under attack by an ideology that claims that it's the religion of peace, led by the most perfect of human beings, Prophet Muhammad, who married a 6-year-old, bearing in mind. And what I wanted to show today in the religious section is a video from their holiest of holy places, Mecca. I'm sure you've heard of Mecca. I'm sure you, like me, until I started educating myself, which happened to me 2004 when I was banged up in High Point, and I saw what was going on in the prisons with Islam, and I just knew back then. I had no idea what I was watching, but I knew what I was witnessing was wrong. It was weird. It was cult-like. And I bet, like me, when you heard Mecca, all we hear is the holy place. It's the place of the holiest of holies for Islam. So I'm going to share a video today that I'm going to react to as it's playing out. And I want you to really think about what it is you're watching, and please share this far and wide. Because if this doesn't hit home, and bearing in mind what you're about to watch, if that's what they class as the holiest of holy places on all earth for Muslims, and you'll also hear what they're chanting at their holy place about Christians and Jews. If that's what goes on there, what do you think is going to happen in our country if Sharia law does come into power? Now, before we move on to the religious section, we've got one hope politically: your vote. Because still, they only make up barely 6%, they being Muslims, 6% of the UK population. We outnumber them by 90+%. We can put a stop to this without having to go out to the streets and take up arms and start fighting people, because that's not my motivation here. My motivation is to share information that we can peacefully take our land back, prevent first cousin marriages. Keir Starmer put a block on the party that put a bill in place to ban first cousin marriages in our country. Keir Starmer blocked it. Currently, Conservatives, Green Party, Labour, Reform, Nigel Farage, these are Islamic parties. They are Islamic funded parties. The reason Keir Starmer is in such a flap at the moment and going at the Green Party is because the Green Party is getting the vote from the Muslims. They're getting the Muslim vote. We've got three options. I hope they come together. We've got Restore Britain, Rupert Lowe, Advance UK, Ben Habib, and obviously UKIP. All three of those parties, one thing they absolutely agree on currently is if they come to power, they put a stop to all the boats of these military age, fighting age men coming into our country. And then they turn, once they block that from happening, which they can do in an instant, we have the power to stop them coming across. Once that's taken care of, we can look into our land, into our cities, Birmingham, London, Manchester, Liverpool. It's all in Wales. It's all in Scotland. It's spreading like a cancer. And we can look inwards and we can clear out everyone and anyone that doesn't want to respect the fact that you live in the United Kingdom, which is a Christian, constitutionally Christian of heritage land, where it is our laws, and it's our streets, not yours. That's the only hope we've got, is if we put one of these in power, they will 100% stop this in an instant. So politically, we need to stand up together now. We need to put us in power, the people. That is what government is meant to be. It's meant to be for the people, by the people, for the people. So what I'm about to share now, as I said, this is their holiest of holy lands. Bear in mind. The title of this video is Mecca, what they don't want you to know. Sexual harassment, crushed to death, and a multi-billion-dollar industry.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the show. I hope you've all been keeping well. In today's episode of What on Earth is Going On in the World, we're going to be taking a closer look at Mecca in Saudi Arabia, because my goodness, is this place dark. This is the holiest place within Islam, and it's not an option to go there as a Muslim. You have to go at some point in your life to Mecca. And what goes on at Mecca, you may ask? Well, let's show you. So these are the kinds of scenes that are surfacing all across the internet, mostly on X, showing you the kind of true face of what goes down. It's like pandemonium. This is like a scene from hell. There's all these people selfishly trying to get their turn at kissing the black stone. And the screams, the tramplings underfoot. People die in their hundreds here, as I'm about to show you. And women especially have a very, very hard time here, as you can imagine. And we are seeing huge numbers of sexual harassment cases happening here. So, for example, here's just a small list of them, but a Pakistani woman said that while circling the Kaaba, a man grabbed her butt and repeatedly while smiling at her. Imagine how creepy that is. A British Muslim pilgrim, who's a woman, described men rubbing their erectors against her in the crowd and grabbing her body during the ritual. Wow. An Indonesian girl who's only 17 said that a man pressed his against her during tawaf, which is like the whole circling around the Kaaba thing, and she was harassed later in her hotel. Now get this, a 10-year-old Pakistani girl reported being during tawaf and later assaulted by a bus conductor during the pilgrimage. Many women said police ignored their complaints, surprise, surprise, in an Islamic country, or dismissed the assaults as unavoidable in dense crowds. Some victims even reported guards themselves behaving inappropriately. All right, so this should give you an insight into the Islamic world's attitudes towards women. Now, I'm probably going to touch a little bit more on this in just a second, but just check this video clip out here. So this is actually a video clip of an old man, a father, being strangled to death by his son at the Kaaba in Mecca. Like, he's killing his father there. Because Islam has this belief that if you die at Mecca, you're going to go straight to heaven. Because, of course, within Islam, the understanding of salvation is a very, very strange one. Like, there's a few sure ways of making it into heaven, and I guess this is one of them. And the other one is jihad, like blowing people up to get into heaven. And that's why we see all this kind of chaos and just darkness at supposedly the most holy site. Now, one of the other interesting things about Mecca is the stoning of the wall that represents Satan. So at Mecca, there is this wall, and many Muslims believe that Satan actually lives there. Like, Satan.
So whether you're religious or not, see, I don't claim any religion. I don't claim Christianity. I don't claim any religion, right? But I do have an understanding that in all religions, there's pretty much always Satan. There's the devil. So isn't it telling, in a religion where they promote child sex, underage marriages, so it's child sex, child abuse, suppression and mistreatment of women, yeah, where they promote the killing of anyone that doesn't obey to their ideology, that in their holiest place, apparently Satan lives
in Mecca. I can strangely believe that one. And in this case, this man isn't just throwing stones at Satan. He's actually using an umbrella to pretend that he's shooting Satan with an automatic weapon, right? So this is like a kind of Hamas fighter throwing grenades using an umbrella. And this isn't a parody. Like, this guy's not joking. This would be blasphemous. No, he's serious about this, right? This is like a genuine role play of how much he hates Satan, and so he's doing this with an umbrella. Just quite remarkable to see this kind of stuff. Now, in terms of the prayers that you'll hear on the loudspeakers at Mecca, what would you expect to hear? You know, help achieve world peace, help my father, help my mother. Let's try and save the world from all kinds of war and poverty and violence. Let's pray for our enemies. Let's pray for good things. No, this is what you'll hear.
Make them poor, make their life miserable. Look at us. And I've already showed you on lots of videos, this, what you're seeing here, is in every single mosque up and down our country. This chant, these prayers, this is what they're praying for. Make their life full of make their lives full of misfortune and afflictions. Give them a tormenting death. Unleash your torment and pain upon the Christian.
There you have it. Now, the people that are praying this kind of stuff are now flooding into Europe. I wonder what's going to happen. Now, what I also find a little bit ironic and sad about all this is that the prayers that they're describing in terms of, make them poor, make their life miserable, clothe them in misery and garments of calamity, make their life full of pain and misery, give them a tormenting death, misfortune. I mean, you're describing the Middle East. You're describing the Middle East. This is what Sharia law brings to a nation. It's all the things they're trying to pray for their enemies. Quite remarkable.
Look at this.
And what else do we see from the whole?
Now, look at this. And those of you that know East London, type in videos of, what's the title? Something like Islam throws rubbish on the streets in Ilford, or Ilford rubbish on the streets. I grew up in Forest Gate. Ilford used to be where I went because it was slightly upmarket from Forest Gate. So again, what you're seeing here, I'll let it play out, and then you go and look at what's going on in East London, in the Islamic areas. It looks like this. Dustbin men won't even go in there.
Holy land of Mecca, but just an ocean of trash everywhere. Look at this stuff. Look at this stuff. It's everywhere. This is supposedly the holiest place on earth. How would you go about treating the holiest place on earth? And there just seems to be a lack of connection between the spiritual world and the physical world.
Hello, Paul.
There's a saying, show me the God you worship and I'll show you the kind of person you are. And this is what you see all over the Islamic world, unfortunately. Just trash everywhere. Like, does no one know how to put stuff in the bins? And even, another thing, going back to the footage of all those pilgrims at Mecca, form a line. Have you ever heard of queuing? Have you ever heard of queuing? This is maybe something that your enemies, the kuffar, could teach you so that hundreds of you don't fall to death underfoot. All right, check this out. So in 1994, a Hajj stampede caused 270 pilgrims to be killed, all right, during the ritual of stoning the devil. 270 Muslims died by their own feet. 1998, 118 deaths during the same ritual. In 2004, at least 251 people were killed and over 200 injured. In 2006, 363 pilgrims were killed in a crowd crush on the bridge, Jamarat Bridge. These stampedes often occur during the stoning ritual when massive crowds converge simultaneously. Some survivors describe people trampled to death under piles of bodies, pilgrims suffocating in crushes, emergency services unable to reach victims. Okay. You'd think, right, since this entire thing with like circling the Kaaba is meant to be a demonstration of unity amongst the Ummah, the Muslim family, the Muslim brotherhood of nations, that they're there all together, all wearing the same white garments to show equality between all the Muslims. You've got old people, children, women, old men as well. You'd think that they might go about things a bit differently. That you might actually think that, hey, since this is something that is salvific in a sense, right, that doing this is seen as positive in the eyes of Allah, that you might actually say, hey, old lady, you go before me. Your life's more important than me. I'd rather you get into heaven first than me. That kind of altruism. You don't see it. You don't see it. It's just look at the thousands of people climbing all over each other to get to it themselves. And it reminds me of a story I heard about what hell was like when I was a kid. This idea that in hell, everyone walks around with a long spoon. And there's food around, but the spoons are too long to reach into their own mouths. And so as a result, people just walk around starving, unable to get the spoon in their own mouth. But if only they would pick up the food with a long spoon and feed someone else, and everyone did that in hell and actually showed love amongst each other, hell would, it'd be a transformation. It wouldn't be hell anymore. And here's what you see, like the same thing, like everyone's climbing over each other, climbing over women and older people so that they can get there. You don't see this in the Christian world at the churches, for example, when we're all lining up to receive Holy Communion, okay? That there's just beyond compare towards anything like this in terms of salvation. And are we climbing all over each other? No, forming a nice queue in humility, offering our place towards the other parishioners to please go in front of me. Your life's more important than me. You go first, right? Women and children first, elderly, the sick go first. It's just some of the things I've been noticing about the kind of etiquette within the Islamic world. Now, here's another thing, because it gets worse, is that in the West, if anyone wants to protest Islam and desecrates the Quran, burns it, or rips pages out, they will be murdered within hours, potentially. But what have we heard from Mecca? Check this out.
A large number of copies of the Holy Quran have been recently found and discarded in the street drainage system in one of the district of Taif, Saudi Arabia, report said. According to Tunisian daily Al Jarida, a 13-year-old boy found the copies and his father informed the police. Footage of the copies of the Quran found in street drains was broadcast on NBC satellite network, sparking anger among viewers. This is not the first time desecration of the Quran happens in Saudi Arabia. In 2013, Quran copies were found in the sewage system in Taif. Later that year, insulting the holy book by prison officials in Al Har province led to protests in different parts of the country.
Couldn't make
In
this up.
2014, a Saudi citizen found torn copies of the Islamic holy book in garbage cans, again in the city of Taif.
You can't make this stuff up. So you have hundreds of Qurans in the sewage systems where all the hotels that are being occupied by all these pilgrims are coming to, pooping into the toilets, going through the drain and being blurted all over the Quran, right? Which to them is like a punishable offense. Like you're going to hell if you do that. And in Mecca, in Saudi Arabia, the sewers, for some reason, I don't know why, probably pilgrims just like leaving the Qurans on the side road or whatever it is, filled the sewers up with Qurans, drenched in waste from all the pilgrims coming to the city. Wow. Honestly, this is embarrassing. This is very embarrassing.
Quieren llenar de mierda el Guadalquivir. La rotura de la balsa de residuos tóxicos de Alcollar hace más de 25 años supuso la mayor.
What else do we have here? This one is a video of a Malaysian pilgrim who was basically sitting somewhere when a Saudi man approached him, basically asking him to go up to his hotel room because he was gay and wanted to get into his pants, basically. And this is the kind of stuff that you're seeing at the holy site. You're getting gay men wanting to come onto pilgrims who are coming there. Wow. But yeah, this is the situation in Mecca. Just craziness, dirtiness. This is actually this is a Bangladeshi Pakistani ghetto in Mecca. It's one of the most developed places in Saudi Arabia, and yet here you have this is the kind of quarters where you have a lot of the Bangladeshi Pakistani people. And just look at the filth. Look at the filth. Now I'm just going to show you some verses from the Quran and just show you more of this kind of stuff. So, slay the unbelievers wherever you find them. Another quote: Muslims must not take the infidels as friends. Those infidels are non-Muslims. Maim and crucify the infidels if they criticize Islam. Terrorize and behead those who believe in scriptures other than the Quran. Muslims must muster all weapons to terrorize the infidels.
This is
unbelievers are stupid. Muslims are urged to fight them. Not quite the case, is it though? Considering the Islamic world is incredibly inbred, the IQ therefore has dropped, and the Islamic world is responsible for what, 0.1% of all scientific discoveries and inventions, despite making up a quarter of the world's population. Yeah, quite something. When the opportunity arises, kill the infidels wherever you find them.
Can you see? It is
the Jews and Christians are perverts. Fight them.
Annihilate, destroy.
Christophobic and anti-Semitic, or are we just only going to talk about Islamophobia? Make war on the infidels living in your neighborhood. Europe's going to be torn apart by this. Punish the unbelievers with garments of fire, hooked iron rods, boiling water. Do not seek peace with the infidels. Okay, this is just more of the stuff that is common belief within the ummah. Sure, you'll find many Muslims who don't know their own faith very well, who are kind of cultural Muslims who do want to get along with people. But you have to understand that there's a difference between actually being Muslim and truly subscribing to the beliefs of Islam and just kind of posing as one. There's a difference. And when you start to understand that one of the main goals of the Muslim life is the imitation of the life of Muhammad, everything starts making a lot more sense. The whole reason why Muslims do this thing around Mecca is basically seen as an obedience to God. So many Islamic scholars say the primary meaning is simply submission and obedience to God's command, and the ritual is performed because Muhammad did it. Because Muhammad did it, therefore Muslims have to do it. So you see this thing about imitating Muhammad, because Muhammad is seen to be the perfect man. And that's why the Islamic world doesn't have any issues with beheading people, right? This is what Muhammad did. Muhammad beheaded people. They don't take an issue with pedophilia and child marriage because Muhammad married a 6-year-old and consummated it when she was 9 years old, according to the Quran. So this is a key part of the Islamic life, is imitating the life of Muhammad. And if you're not imitating the life of Muhammad, can you really call yourself a Muslim?
And for the record, Islam is a male-driven, sexually deviant religion. It is satanic. Like I said, I'm not trying to be spiritual. I'm not trying to be religious. As he's stating, this is it's unreal. It's unreal. And you think then the video I played at the beginning, our Trafalgar Square, the mayor of London is one of these. He believes in all of this stuff.
You'd be actually a heretic if you didn't.
See that, Tim?
Which is why whenever there is a terrorist attack, beheadings, or any sort of pedophilia stuff, the Muslim world, the Islamic world is silent. it's silent. This is why. But I'll end it on this. The Kaaba in Mecca was said to be, in Islam, created by Abraham and Ishmael. There's no evidence for this. Every scholar and historian rejects this idea. This is something that's only found within the Islamic narrative. And actually, we have all the evidence to know that the Kaaba was actually a pre-Islamic structure of the pagans that existed there, who had this kind of worship of the pagan god called Hubal, along with these three other deities that were called Al-Lat, Al-Uzza, and Manat. And these three were considered the highest ranking female deities in the Arabian pantheon. In fact, there is an instance in the life of Muhammad, which has been later termed the Satanic verses, where basically he is cited as, bowing down to them and kind of praising these deities. And the pagan Meccans were pleased because now their gods were acknowledged. And now if you understand that Muhammad was really trying to expand into this empire, it's a very conquesting ideology. And so he would say things to try to draw in the Jews. He would say things to draw in the Christians. And here he's saying things to draw in the pagans that were in high number in these regions. Okay, so he's always trying to bring things in and make them submit to him and Allah. And so, yeah, you do have the almost co-opting of the pagan religion of the time, which did involve these same rituals that Muslims do today. The circling of the Kaaba, the kissing of the stone, and all this has to do with this kind of pagan worship of this lunar deity. And so, yeah, this whole lie that the Kaaba was created by Abraham, or that he might have had, I think, either relations on it or tied his donkey or camel to it once. There's some weird stories around it. None of it's true. There's no evidence to believe that Abraham was anywhere near Mecca. And this is one of the reasons why the Saudi government does not allow any sort of archaeology to take place in Mecca, because they're worried about what it's going to uncover. So here's a little video clip showing that.
Archaeologists have uncovered the tombs of pharaohs, the walls of Jericho, and the temples of Babylon. History leaves footprints. You can follow them. But when it comes to Mecca, the trail goes cold. Not a single confirmed structure from the early Islamic period has ever been uncovered. No mosques from Muhammad's lifetime. No traces of pilgrimage from the 7th century. And here's what makes it worse. Independent archaeologists aren't allowed in. Only Muslim-approved teams. No outside verification. No peer-reviewed digs. Jewish and Christian texts from late antiquity reference many Arabian peoples and cities, but never Mecca. Not once. No archaeology. No outside texts. No maps. No inscriptions. If Mecca was truly a religious or commercial center before Islam, why did the entire ancient world forget to mention it?
Are you following this? Literally, Islam has no history of the things that they're preaching to be at the core of their doctrines. You got the Dead Sea Scrolls from the lives of Jesus and the prophets and the apostles. Like, we have evidence. We have things in layman that actually, whether you believe or not, that's not my thing. It's not about believing or not for me. It's definitely not about letting this shit infiltrate our nation, because as I said, what you've seen today, in fact, I'm going to stop that now. We don't need to share that anymore. What that shows you irrefutably is that what you're seeing at their holiest of holy places. And by the way, if you type in statistics of rapes in Mecca, it will blow you away. They are openly, I've seen videos, I didn't play them today because I didn't want this video to be taken down, where there's women in the crowd that are being raped in those squashes. And once one's finished, another guy gets behind and he's raping that same. You can't. This is so barbaric, so inhumane. And that's their holiest place. And at the beginning of this, I showed you a video where the mayor of London in Trafalgar Square is basically praying to that ideology, led by a god and a prophet that wants to annihilate us, humiliate us, destroy us, make us wear clothes of misery. We've got to wake up. We've got to share these messages. Trust me, I'm not doing this to get clicks or become famous. Like, this is a horrific topic to talk about. But it's like, this is all I feel I can do. A big part of me moving away from the UK was because of this shit. I became aware of this shit, like I said, 22 years ago this year, 2004. I saw this in the prisons. In fact, Tommy Robinson, shout out to Tommy Robinson. He made a video over the last couple of days, you can get on YouTube, where he talks about his Wood Hill experience literally last year and how now Muslims have every jail on lock. They're building an army. Bear in mind, their religion is the religion of war. It's not the religion of peace. They are openly in our streets chanting. Whose streets? Our streets. Death to Jews. We're going to rape your daughters. Up and down, in English, in front of our police. They're doing nothing. We've got to stand up. I can't believe trust me, at 45 years old, where I've been politically homeless all my life because I thought all of it was rubbish and codswallop and there's no change. Now I see the importance of us as a nation voting. Vote against these vermin. They're vermin. People, to always end on the positive. Don't lose sight of who you are and how powerful you are in just being yourself and knowing within yourself who you are and the rights and wrongs, your principles, your morals that you know to be true. Stand on your truth. Be proud of your goodness, because that's what it's going to take. We need to stand up as a nation, shoulder to shoulder. Black people, brown people, white people, yellow people, pink people, together, Brits, and say enough is enough. Please look into Restore Britain, Advance UK, and UKIP. That's the only chance that we've got, because if Reform get in, Labour get back in, Conservative Party get back in, Green Party, anyone else, and what you're seeing now, by 2030, that is only 4 years. They predict that London will be an Islamic city. Birmingham is pretty much, it's on the precipice of it already happening. There are many parts of Birmingham where the Birmingham British police will not even enter in our country. Love to everyone, sending you all good health, happiness and peace. Thanks for everyone in chat. Apologies that I've not gone through the chat. I don't do that so much on these videos. I just want to share the information. Have a fantastic day, people, and speak to you soon. Thank you all of you in chat. Please like and subscribe. Share these videos, because I know there are, because people do contact me, people that just need to know that there's somewhere you can come here and you can voice how you feel. As long as you don't say anything, we don't need to talk about colour. This isn't about colour. I don't want any of that shit here. Restoring Britain, and yeah, being proud of being white and British and English. I've got loads of black mates and brown mates that are just as proud of their British heritage as me. So it's not about colour. That is so important. And the reason I emphasise that is that's how they've fucking pacified us for so long. The race card, especially if you look like me, you're white, male, straight. We're the worst, apparently. But you know what? I'm one of the best. And so are you. Because I love being kind. I love being loving. I love being accepting. I love sharing. I love all different colours of people. I'm a good human being. So are you. That's all it takes. Don't lose sight of that. Have a fantastic day, people. And see you soon.
King Charles, where are you? Your people are shouting, crying, begging for help. And yet you stand silent while this country is torn apart. What good is a crown if it doesn't defend the nation? What good is a king if he will not stand with his people? This land is not theirs to destroy. It belongs to the people, the workers, the mothers, the fathers, the veterans, the builders, the farmers. We carried this island through wars, through hardship, through centuries of struggle, and we will not watch it be handed away by weak men in suits. Your duty is not to them, Charles. It is to us, to Britain, to the very soul of this nation. If you will not rise, if you will not speak, then you will show the people that the crown has become nothing but decoration. So hear us now. Your people demand action. We demand a king who protects his country. Britain is calling, Charles. Answer, or history will remember your silence.